I'm Francisco Gonzalez.
I'm Brock Landers.
I'm Marion Bowler.
In this video, we'll be talking about our first ME1222 project. It's an energy harvester for a Mardi Gras parade.
Our project is called the beer backpack. I'm going to do a little 360 so y'all can see it. And what it does, it squirts out any liquid that you put inside of the bag.
So in this video, we'll be going over our customer profile, our design process for making this product, which would be like our house of qualities, our Gantt chart, an objective tree. And then we will also be going over the various concepts that we made when trying to think of a product for our customer. And then we're also going to talk about how we came to the conclusion to go with what you see on Francisco.
To start off this project, we were given a customer profile. And the customer that we were given was the all-day parade walker. And that is a member of a walking crew who participates in long parade routes and extended celebrations on foot. The customer wears a costume and carries accessories while moving continuously through crowded streets for several hours. We were tasked with creating a BEAD system that could improve comfort, endurance, and performance during prolonged walking and standing. To resolve this, we created a lightweight, wearable system that harnessed human energy from hand movements, which is squeezing the pump, and turns it into a sip of any refreshment of the user's choice while maintaining a visually appealing device suitable for Mardi Gras. And here is an example of our customer on the screen.
Okay, so in this section, we will be talking about our house of qualities, which essentially what it did was it allowed us to organize and rank what we thought should be the overall functions of our device. And this eventually allowed us to come up with like different concepts which we thought would fulfill the needs of our customer. So with starting off with our house of qualities, we made a functions and qualitative constraints list. And so this included stuff like providing comfort for our customer. It had to be lightweight, compact, reliable. It had to attach and detach. It had to be appealing to it had to be eye pleasing to the customer. It couldn't be restrictive. It had to be affordable. It had to be safe to use. It needed to be able to like be very cost efficient, and also you should be allowed to produce it or mass produce it easily. And then on this upper section here, we had quantitative constraints, which was basically we took our functions and constraints and kind of we put them in a form that could be measured. So this kind of included like weight, which we put in grams, the mounting force required for our device, which was in newtons, material strength, pressure, how many like components there are in the device, and like cost per unit, just stuff like that. And then what we did in this middle part of the table was we would look at a function, and then we would look at a quantitative constraint, and then we would rank like what the relationship would be. And our rankings were between strong, medium, and weak. And basically what the idea is if you have a function that has multiple like strong relationships with like various of these quantitative constraints, then you would want to go with it. And then what we also did was, as a group, we were told we were each given 100 points. And what we would do is we would divide up those points amongst our functions. And so what we did from there was, once everyone ranked how many points they would give to each function, we took the average of that, and then from there we were given like these relative weights, which is a kind of ranking of the function to see like what we thought were like the most important. So as for instance right here, that 3 for visually appealing, all of us kind of thought that wasn't really like that important compared to the other functions. And then, so moving on, what we did was down here for our quantitative specs, we wanted to like kind of have like a target or like a value that we wanted to reach. And so like an example of this would be like the weight of our product. We want it to be like less than 300 grams. Or for instance, like price, we want it to be under $10. So that's what we did in this section right here. And then as for our little pyramid on top, what this was, we went and we looked at each of the various quantitative constraints, and we ranked how well they correlated with each other. So what we did, we had like a very strong positive correlation, or just normal positive, or you had like no correlation at all. And then from here, what we wanted to do is we wanted to keep the constraints that would have like a very high positive correlation with multiple other constraints too. And then now looking at our competitors, this right here was just for us to kind of get an idea of like what other people were doing, so that we could kind of in a way like learn from what they were doing and in a way somewhat copy, I guess. And what we did was we took like five different products from like the outside, just like we Googled it. And then what we did was we looked at how each of those products would fulfill our functions, and then they were ranked from like 0 to 5, with 5 being best and 0 being worst. And so from there, we just kind of took like, we just kind of looked at like which product would have like the most 5s, and then we would look at that and see, okay, what did they do? And then we would try and like imitate them, you could say. And that's about it for the house equalities.
Now I'm going to show you our objective tree. So basically what the objective tree does is allow us to organize the constraints that we have for our product. So for the first row, it's our main function, safety, affordable, and effective. Then under that, we have our sub-functions. For example, for safety, we have reliable and non-restrictive. And then in the bottom row, we have all the main constraints that we want for our product. Low maintenance and easy for use or detached is the example for the safety. Now, on the next part.
So in this part, I'm explaining our first concept that we had. And so what we thought of was a fan hat. And so the way this would work is you would have a hat that would be shaped like a sun hat pretty much. And what you do is it'd have holes in it. And within those holes, you would have like a fan that would spin. And how the fan would get its energy is it would have a tube that would connect from the fan, and it would attach to these little, like, I guess, airbag pumps, you could say. The best way I can think about it is that it would kind of be like a whoopee cushion, but just without the farting sound. But you would essentially step on it, and air would be pushed from that bag, go through the tube, and it would spin the hat and provide cooling to our customer. And it was wearable, so you could just, it wasn't restricted.
Our second concept was the beer hat. Essentially, it would just be a hat, and it would have a funnel on top of it, which would have like a tube going around the hat, which would lead to your mouth, and you could pour the drink into the funnel, and it would go around, and you would use your mouth to suck the drink out of it. And then that would generate, that would power the LEDs around the outer brim of the hat.
Now for the third concept, we have a light up 3D printed beer funnel. So basically, there's a clip on the side that you can clip on your belt, and there's a water wheel on the inside, so whenever you pour beer into the funnel, it's gonna power the water wheel. Here's the fusion file for that. It's gonna light up LEDs around the whole funnel to just maximize the amount of dopamine for it. Now for the next concept. Concept 4 is the final one that we chose. It's the beer backpack. This is a wearable backpack system that holds a large bag of beer, making it easy to carry to share with a group. It includes a hand pump that can shoot the beer up to 25 feet, making it perfect for a crowd setting. It's designed for convenience and cost effectiveness. And here's the CAD file that we do. Now on to the next one.
So in here, I'll be explaining our decision matrix, and what this did was it allowed us to rank each of our 4 concepts and let us decide which one of those we wanted to use as our final product. And so what we did was we came up with a list of factors which we thought were the most important and that which our device should have. And from there, we gave each of the concepts a plus if it fulfilled that factor and a minus if it didn't. And from there, we added up all the pluses, added up all the minuses, and we added those together to get an overall total. And then we also had a weighted total, which basically took in all those concepts and we ranked those concepts based off of which ones we thought were most important, and it kind of added a bit more points to the concepts. And what we did was we landed on number 4 because it fulfilled most of the factors, and it also fulfilled the factors that we thought were most important. So.
All right, so as we were making our product, the main problem we came up with was whenever we laid the pump down, water would leak out. So to fix that, we got a Gatorade and we cut out the top and put it on there. And then also the main problem was whenever we shot it, it wouldn't go in a narrow stream. So then we wanted to 3D print some nozzles. One of the problems with the nozzles is in the Fusion file, it actually didn't show one of the holes that actually came out when it printed. And we also designed mini nozzles, like this one. Well, this is a failed one, but this one is a successful one. Like this one, you'll be able to use it for drinks and stuff like that. But we ended up on one like this one, where we can get very far and shoot into a crowd, and you could also shoot into your own mouth. So another one of our failures was the cost. It came out a lot more expensive than we thought it would. One of the main costs was a camelback water bag. But even though we had access to many materials given to us, it came out a lot more expensive than we thought. But overall, the product came out to our desire. Next up is the demonstration of the product.
This will be the part in the video where we show you how to utilize this device. The first step to use this is to fill it up. What you have to do, take out the pouch from the bag, release it from its Velcro so that it's not connected to the bag anymore. Open it up.
Good. But this is actually a terrifying place.
And then you fill it up with any liquid that you want through this hole right here, as demonstrated. Like that. Once the water bag is filled up, you gotta zip it back into the actual bag itself. So what you do is put the Velcro loop through this little hook thing. You secure the Velcro to here, and then you just pick up the bag, put it on one side at a time, and then we're ready to use it. Now, I have Brock here with me to demonstrate and explain how we would actually use this device. So, all you would have to do to use the bag is to squeeze the pump, and it should shoot pretty far, as you can see. You can shoot it at any angle you want. You can shoot it down, you can shoot it up. You see the stream would go pretty far. The furthest stream that we recorded was 25 feet, if you can believe that. So now, we're actually gonna see how it is in use. What you would do, since this is the beer backpack, you would squeeze it like this, you bring it up to your mouth, like that. And you could even squeeze it on other people too. Brock, open your mouth. Perfect, bro. This concludes our video presentation of our ME1222 project, the beer backpack.
Thank you for watching.